Hey everybody, good morning and welcome to our very first co-ownership webinar that we're having. And my name is Dean Otto and I am one of the co-founders of Cohana Homes. And we also have Noah Kirschbaum here. Maybe you can wave, Noah, so we can see you. Noah is also a co-founder and also very involved with that co-ownership program. He lives in Lake Oswego in Portland, Oregon. So he covers a lot of our mainland areas and is also involved in Maui and Kauai and Big Island with us as well. So welcome. Just want to make sure no one missing not missing anyone. Perfect. Great, man. We've got a good group of people from all over the country and several of our local agents that we're working with to partner with and selling their properties. We currently have, oh, here's one. We currently have 15 listings on Maui, which is pretty awesome. It's really been picking up. And I think that the reason we're getting so much interest in the co-ownership option right now is because of the market. You know, if you look at our current market, man, we have some challenges right now, and it's consistent, right? We talk to people across the country every day, and everyone's sort of in the same boat, which is the markets have cooled off, slowings have slowed down, transactions are down. On Maui, our market, if you look at the end of August statistics versus last August, our number of sales is down 16.8%. Our medium sales price is down 20.2%. We're running at about a 20% decline from last year as we progress through the year here. And the number of listings is up 14%. So that's a very common story we hear from everyone every day about their markets and sort of a general cooling off and the market cycle being in a little bit of a downward trend right now for the next few years. So everyone is sort of searching for new ideas and new solutions, and we have one that we think is a great option, particularly in with the timing of the market. And you know, we see real opportunity here. The NAR came out with a statistic recently that says that 7 million buyers have now stepped out of the market to the sidelines, right? So that's a really interesting statistic. We have about 4 million sales per year in the US. And according to NAR, we have 7 million buyers have now gone to the sidelines to sort of wait and watch and see what happens. You know, waiting for prices to adjust, waiting for interest rates to adjust, whatever it is. The challenge for us is $7 million buyers on the sidelines and 4 million sales in the next year. So that's a challenge, but it's
Let
also
me
a great
know when it
opportunity.
stops buffering.
Uh-oh, who's that? Someone can mute, please, if you don't mind. Um, but it's a challenge, but it's also a great opportunity. You know, 7 million buyers who can't make sense out of this market is kind of interesting, right? In the sense that, so what are we going to do about that? I mean, are we going to continue to do the same things that they can't make sense out of anymore? And the reason why they've gone to the sidelines? Or are we going to think outside the box and be a little creative and come up with some new solutions? And for us, it's about new solutions and solving problems and manufacturing transactions. So how does co-ownership work is probably the everyone waiting to hear about. But I think ultimately it's a simple concept. What we do at Cohana Homes is we partner with real estate agents like yourselves who have listings that they're trying to sell. Maybe they aren't getting enough activity or sitting on the market too long. And we partner with those agents to be able to offer a creative option for them. And what we do is we basically facilitate the creation of an LLC partnership to purchase your listing. So it's 2 to 4 members typically is what we do. And we facilitate the creation of the LLC. We have all the LLC documents and operating agreements and all. So we're pulling together people in these second home markets like Maui, where people are coming and going, and the average use for most of our people is 2 months a year. So this is a challenge that Maui has faced throughout my 30-year career. And over the 30 years, I've been trying to find ways to put people together and partnership together for people who are only going to be here 2 months a year and are looking at buying, in many cases, in my business, 10 to $20 million properties. And that's been a challenge. It's not a challenge during the booming time, but it is a challenge when the markets slow down. And I'm looking at the next 5 years and how I'm going to make my fortune over the next 5 years by being a little bit creative and a little bit outside the box and getting some attention here. Let me just let this guy in. Thank you. So what we do is when we facilitate the creation of an LLC, we always have a set exit for the partnership. So it is a partnership arrangement and a sharing arrangement where 2 to 4 members come together and they share the use of the property, they share the expenses, and they share ownership. And when we put this LLC together, we normally create a set term. A popular term is 5 years, okay? And I'll just use that as an example, but it could be whatever the group of owners decides. But if you enter into an LLC with Cohana Homes, you're going to have a set term. And at the end of that term, let's say 5 years, we're going to come back to this group and they're going to have 3 options at the expiration of the 5-year term. Number one option would be for the group to unanimously agree to extend and continue on as long as they're happy and are enjoying it. We'll go as long as they want to go. If it doesn't work out that way, and maybe one partner wants to sell or 2 want to sell, we'll have the option of a buyout arrangement with a priority list that's set in advance. So it's either you extend the term with the unanimous agreement, or if it's not unanimous, we have an option to buy each other out and continue on. But so ultimately, there is a set term and there is a way to get out of our partnership. And I think that's typically, it's going to be one of the 2 options of extending, buyout option to extend, or if we can't have a unanimous agreement, we put the property on the market and it goes on the market to sell. So we do not do timeshare. We do not do fractional. We don't break the property up into pieces and try and resell them. We have a set exit date so that everyone agrees in advance to sell together in the future, which means that we stay in the lane of whole ownership, which is what you guys are doing every day, right? So we're building a partnership into the front end for a set period like 5 years with an agreement between those partners to sell together in the future. It could be at the 5-year term, or it could be as long as the group is willing to continue on and everyone is happy and wants to continue on. So it's kind of a simple concept. It's a little complicated putting the deals together because basically what we do is we're bringing together often people who don't know each other into a partnership. So there's a whole nother level of detail that goes into what we're doing. And our agreements are very extensive and very detailed because of the reason that we're putting strangers together. And so, for people, generally speaking, there's 2 reasons why people don't want to do partnerships. One of them is that they want to know how to get out of it. Number one, first thing everyone asks is, how do I get out of this partnership? The second thing is that most of these co-owners don't want to have to interact with each other if something goes wrong. For example, if something breaks, someone doesn't send a check, someone doesn't pay their bill. No one wants to be that partner getting on the phone, contacting the other partners to figure out what went wrong, who didn't pay, or how that, who broke what. So what we do is we facilitate the creation of the partnership. We provide all the legal documents to put the LLC together to purchase the property. And then we stay on as the LLC manager through the set term. If it's 5 years, we stay on through the 5 years and we handle all communications between the partners. So the partners, in a case that we have in Kauai right now, we have 4 partners there that have never talked to each other before. If they have a question or concern, they call us. We facilitate the conversation between the partners, and then we get back to that co-owner and tell them what the result was. We operate on a unanimous agreement generally to change our existing structure that we put in place up front. So, again, for you as an agent, there's a couple options where you can participate. One is if you have a listing that you're trying to sell and it's not moving or it's sitting on the market too long, we can come in and partner with you and energize and bring more exposure and more interest, more conversations. People are very intrigued by this idea that you can buy a $4 million house for $1 million and have a 25% co-ownership interest in this property, knowing that in 5 years' time, you're either going to extend because everyone wants to, or you're going to sell the property and you'll get your portion back, so to speak. So it's kind of a simple concept. It's a sharing arrangement when a partnership LLC agreement with a set exit that everyone agrees in advance to sell together in the future. It could be 5 years, could be 10 years, whatever the group decides. So that's just kind of a basic framework of how this works. Um, I guess it begs the question, how do we find buyers, right? And what we do typically is Cohana Homes in partnership with an agent. And we have listings, by the way, all over the country. And we've taken listings in Italy, France, Honduras, Mexico. So we've kind of gotten into an international market as well, right? Any location where people are only going there part-time is going to be a good market for us. We have properties in Vail, Colorado. Colorado is a popular market. Utah, popular market for us. We have a bunch of listings in Oregon. We have listings in Rhode Island, Florida, Texas, California, and Kauai, Maui, and the Big Island. So we have a bunch of listings, and it's the challenge for us right now is trying to find buyers. So the 15 listings that we have on Maui, we have several cases. We have one or two co-owners, and we're looking for two more. And so we're out there trying to hustle and sell Maui properties in partnership with agents, many of whom are on this call right now. I know Katie Foxwell on this call. We just listed two listings with her. One is a Montage at Kapalua Bay, one of the premier condominium properties on Maui, and that one is listed for 4.25 million, and we'll be offering 1,080,000, 25% interest for four lucky co-owners to join together and share in the use and ownership of this amazing Montage property. And we also have one in Wailea at Ho'olea, which is an amazing condo complex that has all kinds of great amenities in connection to the Grand Wailea. It's also a very popular concept too, and that one is listed for 5.25 million, and we'll be listing 25% co-ownership interests for 1,335,000. So for you, as a buyer's agent or an agent with a database, as the market slows down and sales are a little harder to come by, you have the opportunity to go to your database in search of people who can afford 1,335,000 for this incredible $5.25 million property. For a buyer, it's an amazing chance to leverage your buying power. You wouldn't be able to buy anything for 1,335,000 in Wailea, but this gives you an opportunity to be in one of the premier complexes and share in this arrangement in a $5.25 million property. So yeah, super exciting for us. We're having a tremendous response to it. We're getting calls every day for new listings around the country, and the concept is becoming very popular. All right. We coined the phrase Cohana is where R&R meets ROI, because we're drawing in investors and legitimate real estate investments because of the exit strategy that we have. This is a regular real estate play just like any other. Instead of investing 5.25 million, you're only investing 1,335,000, but you're reaping the benefits of the appreciation of a $5.25 million property. So it's an excellent opportunity for buyers to leverage their buying power with with a 25% interest in a property. So we're seeing a lot of interest in that as well. For you guys, we hope that you would see the opportunity to get into your databases and to talk to your people about purchasing in Maui. And we'll show you a little bit later some of the great options that we have. But for now, I just want to get through a couple more things here. How do agents participate in the sale, and how does the partnership with Cohana work? We take on listings anywhere in the country where we have an agent that sees the opportunity and is interested in partnering with us, right? So if you have a listing that's struggling to sell, you can call us. We'll partner with you. Your commission is unchanged, right? If we just took a $6.2 million listing yesterday, listed with an agent in Vail, Colorado. And what we did is we raised the price to 6.3 million because we have a 1.5% fee on every transaction that we do. And if we don't do the transaction, we don't get paid. So for you as a listing agent, you're going to get your commission regardless of how it sells. If you sell it, you get it. If we sell it, you still get your commission. We're adding our fee on to the price. So right, the $6.2 million listing, we raise it to 6.3, and then you divide that by 4, it comes out to 1,575,000 per 25% interest. So we're shifting our 1.5% fee onto the buyer by adding it onto the price. So for a seller, there's actually no reason why you wouldn't do it, because if we transact, we've raised the price to net full price for the owner. So nothing to lose there. The listing agent still gets their commission. And if there's four agents who come up with 1,575,000 buyers, they'll each share in the buy side commission. So you wouldn't be getting a $6.2 million commission, but you still can get a 1,575,000 commission on your buyer's purchase of the 25% interest. So everyone gets paid, everyone is incentivized. No one really loses anything with our program. The seller, if we don't sell it, we don't charge anything. And so ultimately, it's kind of a no lose for a seller, right? We're shifting the fee onto the buyer. We are bringing in a whole nother world of exposure to this listing. So while that agent's just trying to sell $6.2 million property, we're out there trying to sell 25% interest for 1,575,000. And that's a whole nother level of exposure and marketing for a $6.2 million listing, right? So it truly is a partnership. We bring a lot to the table because we offer a lot. We have our own lead generation campaign to try to find out our buyers while you're trying to find the $6.2 million buyer. And that would be through Google lead generation, through Brivity. We have a dedicated digital marketing person who does all our social media and all our e-blast to a database of 30,000 prospects and realtors. And we also require that if you partner with us in a listing, that you add to the realtor remarks something to the effect of seller is also considering the option of a 25% interest for 1,575,000. So that shows up in the remarks, and then everything else stays the same for you as a listing agent. But what it'll do is it'll result in a lot of exposure through Zillow and Redfin and all, and you'll be getting calls on how this works and what is this all about. And people are very curious about it. So we get a lot of, it sort of reinvigorates a listing. If you had a listing that was coming up for renewal and you were concerned about not getting the extension, we're like 100% success rate in meeting with an agent, the client on Zoom, explaining what we're doing, explaining how we're partnering with the agent, and explaining how we add our fee on so there's no real cost to the seller. Someone's raised their hand. Someone have a question?
There's actually two questions. I can read one to you from the comments, Dean, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
One of them is, who is the point person for owners once in partnership? Is it us, you and I, a member of the team? And how large is our team?
So we don't have a large team. You're looking at it right now. It's Noah and I.
Hey, guys.
But we do have, as I say, a digital marketing person. We have a virtual assistant, Chris, who's on the call as well. And we have CPAs and what have you involved with us as well too. A big part of what we're doing is managing these LLCs as well as facilitating the creation of the LLC. So the point person really is you, the listing agent. We have a partnership with the listing agent, and generally speaking, the listing agent is the conduit to the client. If we have to get on a Zoom call with the agent and the client, we'll do that, but we work with the agent. And so we're truly looking for agents who understand what we do, see the opportunity, are looking for a little creativity, something outside of the box to add to their arsenal of offerings and how to sell these listings and how to get listings. I mean, we're getting a lot of listings for a lot of agents because we're doing a lot of Zoom conferences with people and their clients to explain how we can bring a whole nother world of exposure to the listing, how we can add a whole nother level of marketing through Google, lead generation, through contacts with agents. The biggest opportunity for us is the agent community. I'm an agent with Keller Williams in the luxury division of Keller Williams. So we leverage heavily into Keller Williams networks. We're not a licensed business. Cohana Homes is unaffiliated, so we work with all brands, but we also leverage pretty deeply into the Keller Williams luxury brand because that's where we operate. And I am one of the 32 luxury ambassadors for Keller Williams Luxury. It's 185,000 agents in Keller Williams. So we have a tremendous ability to expose your listings to a massive audience through a Keller Williams um, luxury division that is familiar with what we do. They've endorsed our business and they understand what we do and how we can help them sell listings. But that's, as I say, not just for Keller Williams, but it is one of the ways that we get a lot of exposure.
Got a
Emma,
couple more here, Dean, if you want to. I'll read them to you. So this one is, how can we get information from Cohana on your current listings to help you advertise them? It's a good question.
good question.
And then they have a specific property in Vegas, but yeah, how can they get information on how to list our current listings?
Yeah, so that'd be great too. So I think that we're going to be a good contact for any of you who have questions or would like to participate in the program. And what we do is we can give you the marketing materials that you can use to pitch any of our listings anywhere in the country, right? So we have the verbiage for each listing that you can literally cut and paste into your email and circulate it to your database. And that's really what we're hoping you'll do. If you have clients, I mean, our business is becoming a lot, it's a different world that we're working in right now. And I think a lot of opportunity for real estate agents is not just in your local market that selling and buying properties, but also when you sell a listing, where are those people going? And where are they buying? And where are they coming from? And we start digging into those feeder markets to try to find these co-owners for you. So if you have a listing on Maui, we would be hitting the West Coast and all the feeder markets with this opportunity through the agents that we have, through our marketing, and try to get into those feeder markets and find co-buyers for your listing for you. So it's a true partnership. You will be the contact with the agent. We will be here to assist you, and we have our own program to generate our own leads as well. And we're happy to provide you with whatever marketing materials you need to help you sell these listings for us. Absolutely.
And then this one's from Charles Leo. How are the timelines for ownership established for owner vacations? For example, some want summer, some want fall, some
Right.
want, yeah.
Hey, Charles, how you doing? Thank you so much. That's a good question. I
Good to
think,
meet you,
how
Charles.
do you use these properties, right? What we do is once we get four owners together and you get them into this LLC, there's a couple different ways you can do it. One of them is almost like a fantasy football draft, right? So if you're a 25% owner on a property, you get 3 months of use, right? And we facilitate this draft on how we're going to share the use. So for the first year, for example, if we have four co-owners, whoever signs up first, number one priority, right? So for the first 1 month of your 3 months, we have a selection order of 1, 2, 3, 4. For the second month, it'll be priority number 4, 3, 2, 1 selection. And then the third month will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we have is, and then that order of selection rotates one position every year. So no one's locking in a time, a month. If everyone wanted Christmas, it would rotate every year because the priority would shift every year one position. So you'll get 3 months, 3 1 month increments spread throughout the year, um, in a selection order that would probably change every year so that you have flexibility on when exactly you're using it and when everyone wants to use it. But so far, we're not seeing too much of a problem with it. Most people are getting their first month that they want. And there's also trading and switching, and we can facilitate all of that. But we facilitate the selection process. It's generally going to be 3 1 month increments, and it'll be spread throughout the year in a selection order that will rotate every year one position. And that's the typical way we do it for communities that aren't facing severe restriction on use, like Maui, for example. Many of our communities in Maui have restrictions against that kind of use. And so the other way we would do it, for example, in Wailea at Ho'ole, Wailea Community Association has a no time share and no time sharing rule. And so what we do is in those cases, we basically go to the group when we put the property into escrow. Once we get the group together, we open escrow. We go to that group and we ask them to make their first reservation on the property for after we close. So everyone starts the ownership with one reservation in escrow. And what we do is you can't make another reservation until you use that reservation, right? So one reservation at a time is what we do for the most restrictive communities. And the reason why we do that is because the restrictive communities control how you use these properties. And what they're saying is that on Maui, for example, they've imposed a use ordinance of 180 days. So you can't on Maui do a draft type rotation system because it's a ongoing recurring annual use of the property, which is what they restrict you against. What they're trying to avoid is plans and programs and arrangements that have ongoing use of properties on an annual recurring basis, like fractional, for example. Fractional is no longer allowed on Maui, right? Because what you're doing is you're creating individual ownership interests that are locking in specific periods of time that you can use in the future. That is not allowed anymore in Maui. I shouldn't say it's not allowed, but you can't have more than two people doing that because it's a 180-day minimum on usage. Only in arranged, planned, organized, multi-year kind of program. So that's how communities can restrict timeshare, fractional, and other types of arrangements. But so what we do at Cohana Homes is different. We stay away from the use in those communities by doing one reservation at a time. And we just basically stay away. Our primary function at Cohana Homes is to lead generate and get four co-owners together in an LLC, provide the LLC documents, and manage the LLC, which means that we provide budgets, bill paying, we coordinate the insurance, we coordinate the tax returns, we handle all the communications between the partners. But what we don't do is get too deep into the vacation renting or how they're going to use the property. So we've sort of separated out our role as an LLC manager in this function to be able to avoid any kind of restrictions from the most restrictive communities like Maui, Napa, and some of the other areas. Does that make sense? Charles, I know you
Yes,
answered. It
that
does?
makes
Okay, good.
sense. I
So
get it.
most of the time, it's going to depend on the zoning. That really is the determining factor. So for residential on Maui, which has a 6-month minimum for vacation renting, also now has a 6-month use ordinance so that you can't do more than two fractions. Vacation hotel zone properties that aren't in the resort like Wella don't have that restriction because the use is now 3, 4, 5 days like a typical hotel. So they don't have the ability to restrict. So you sort of have to look at the zoning before we can decide on how we're going to create the selection process, right? But everything else is set. Selection is sort of a separate issue. The majority of the issues are, the LLC, the terms of the LLC, the management of the LLC, communications with the members of the LLC. We make it very easy for owners because we do everything for them. We pay the bills. They just book their time and show up and enjoy, and then we do everything. We do everything else for them, with a coordinated date in the future where this partnership has agreed to sell together. That make sense?
And the last question in the comments is, what is our fee?
Good question. Our fee is 1.5% of the sale price. So, and again, we're willing to add that fee on, right? So I was just giving the example of the $6.2 million listing that we just took. We raised the price to 6.3 million to add our $90,000 fee, 1.5% onto the deal. So at the end of the day, the seller will net full price in a deal that we have with them, right? We're just adding our fee onto it, shifting the fee onto the buyer. So theoretically, there's really no cost to the seller or the agent to participate with us in this program. So
And can you explain the monthly management fee as well?
yeah, so once we take on the property and we get it up and rolling, so far we've charged $750 a month to manage the LLC, right? So that's divided by 4. That's not a whole lot. But I think that, and everyone wants us to be involved in the LLC management. What people don't want is for us to set up an LLC and then take off and leave them alone to figure it out themselves. That's the number one deterrent on partnerships. And then, as I mentioned before, number two is not wanting to have to communicate with the other co-owners when something goes wrong. Those are the two objections to partnership. So we basically created the scenario where, we're taking care of those issues for people, and we're not seeing people as hesitant to get into these arrangements anymore when we give them an exit and we facilitate all the conversations for them. Was that answer the question? No, I can't remember.
Yeah, you answered both parts of that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so I'll give you an example of how this can really work well for agents. Um, we have several situations now where we're dealing with owners who don't want to sell, right? So if you were lead generating or you're calling expired listings and someone said, I don't want to sell, I don't want to sell, our response is great. We're not here to ask you to sell. We're wondering whether you would be willing to take on 3 partners, become the 4th partner, go into an LLC, and in the case that I'm working on right now, dealing with an $8 million seller, I'm taking a seller who had no interest in selling and now has agreed to take on 3 partners who join him in an LLC for 5 years and then they sell the property. And the reason why he's interested in that is because he can get 6 of his 8 million back today. He can be left with still 25% interest, which means he still gets 3 months of use of the property, and he only used it 2 months a year for the last 10 years. So when you think about that, a seller that's carrying a lot of debt, we're dealing with a seller right now who has a $14 million condo on the ocean in Wailea, the Wailea Beach Villas, just amazing property. He has a $10 million loan on this property, and he's $7,500 a month maintenance fee, $15,000 a month property taxes. I mean, this guy is just that monthly bill is huge, right? So he's trying to figure out, he's being forced to sell. And I met with him last week and explained to him that there's another option here. The other option would be for me to find you 3 partners and you become the 4th. Look at the swing in this case, right? He's paying all those expenses, including a $10 million loan. If I can get him 3 partners to pay 3 million or 4 million each, he would be able to clear out his $10 million debt and he'd only have 1/4 of the expenses moving forward. So think of the swing there, right? That's $10 million loan, $7,500 a month, $15,000 a month to just 1/4 of the maintenance fee and the taxes. That's a massive swing for someone who's writing those big checks every month and not using the property and trying to vacation rent it to offset that expense. And so what's happened is vacation renting has become not such a great option for Maui owners. The expenses are way